Good evening all. Vanakkam. First of all, I would like to thank SICCI and SICCI for giving this wonderful opportunity to be part of this Elite Forum. இதில் ஒரு ஆடட் ஒரு சந்தோஷம் என்னென்னா ஒரு ப்ரானி பாயிண்ட் என்னென்னா and that too this event I'm participating in Tuticorin, which is actually my native town. So I was born here. So although got settled and I did my education in Chennai, it was very nice to come back to my hometown over here and be part of this gathering. So எனக்கு கொடுத்த டைம் ஒரு 20 minutes, so I try to be as quick as possible. ஸோ எனக்கு கொடுத்த லீட் என்னென்னா, நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ்க்கு கோரான ஒரு விஷயத்தை பற்றி நீங்கள் ப்ராபப்ளி உங்களோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்றத சொன்னாங்க. ஸோ பிஸ்னஸ்க்கு கோரான விஷயங்கள் நிறைய இருக்குது, ரைட் ஃப்ரம் ஐடியேஷன், ஃப்ரம் பிளான்ஸ் டு எக்ஸிக்யூஷன், இட் குட் பி எனி அதர் கிரிட்டிக்கல் ஃபங்க்ஷன் லைக் மார்க்கெட்டிங், ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜி, பிளானிங், ப்ரொடக்ஷன், அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய கோரான விஷயங்கள் இருக்குது. பட் அமங்ஸ்ட் ஆல் தோஸ், லைக் இன் த லாஸ்ட் 25 years, and there's a saying like I eat, breathe, sleep, I have been only doing financial management and various avtas. So I thought, as to that said, I thought that I should, and particularly in the last 5 years, with varied experience of dealing with family businesses, I felt that probably as to why don't I share our experience in terms of how we have come up with these family businesses in a financial, whenever they are dealing with the financial aspect, right? Be it in terms of their belief or thoughts on finance as a function, as well as their own beliefs on the day-to-day or the financial management in a strategy perspective. So that was the area. So you all being into generational businesses, I don't think that these aspects are new to you, not that it is not that you are all not aware of, but always a reaffirmation or a reiteration helps. So in that context, before that, finance as a function, the evolution of finance as a function. So 30-40 years back, or even 50-60 years back, finance was traditionally, or the traditional sort of finance was only restricted to very transaction aspects, like bookkeeping. ஒரு கணக்கு வழக்கு பார்க்குற ஒரு டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டாக மட்டும்தான் இருந்தது, ஒரு வரவு செலவு கணக்கு. அதை தாண்டி பெருசாக ஒன்றும் இல்லை. இட் வாஸ் ஜஸ்ட் லைக் அ நியூஸ் பேப்பர், ரைட்? என்ன நடந்தது, என்ன வந்தது, என்ன போச்சு, என்ன செலவாச்சு, என்ன மிச்சம் நிற்கிறது, அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற ஒரு ஆஸ்பெக்ட் ஒரு டீமாக மட்டும்தான் இருந்தாங்க. அஃப்கோர்ஸ் that team was always with people who held the highest integrity and people who were always loyal to the family. So அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற பர்சன்ஸ் தான் வந்து they always traditionally, and even in today's world, always people, businessmen prefer to have those kind of peoples in the finance team. Right? Then after a point in time wherein markets opened, right? Then businesses were approached the capital markets for fundraising, be it banks or be it stock exchanges. And also regulatory also brought in a lot of changes in terms of compliance and other aspects. Finance team function became kind of a compliance team in terms of, அந்த டீம் வந்து லீகல் பார்த்துப்பாங்க, ரிட்டர்ன் ஃபைல் பண்ணுவாங்க, ஆடிட்டரோட டீல் பண்ணுவாங்க, பேங்க்ஸில் கேட்குற கேள்விக்கெல்லாம் ஃபைல் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ அகெயின் இட் வாஸ் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்டட் ஒன்லி டு தட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் அ ஃபங்க்ஷன். Then again, when internet came into place, then we had the Microsoft, Excel, spreadsheets, all those kind of digitization in a small way which started. Or whatever was used to be written in ledgers, manual worksheets, அதெல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் கம்ப்யூட்டரைஸ், நம்ம கம்ப்யூட்டரைஸில் டேட்டா என்டர் பண்ண ஆரம்பித்தோம், and finance function became a data repository. So all team members, particularly promoters, businessmen, they depended on finance as a function for all sort of data inputs. But all these times, finance was only kept as a doorkeeper. They are really waiting outside when it came to business functions. They never participated actively in terms of business aspects, in terms of decision making, in terms of strategy building, all of that, right? Only in after 2000, and we had the whole globalization thing happening, and we had a lot of startups coming into play and new businesses coming into play. Large corporations started recognizing that finance is no more only a support function. Finance has to be a business enabler, right? And they started integrating finance as a function into the core team, and anything and everything finance was completely involved. This happened in all large corporations very early enough. இன்ஃபேக்ட் இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த மாதிரி இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிற லார்ஜ் கார்பரேஷன்ஸ்லேயே இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை இந்த மாதிரி நியூ ஏஜ் நிறைய நியூ ஏஜ் பிஸ்னஸஸ்லேயே இருக்கட்டும், CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, is almost a quasi CEO. CEO is Chief Executive Officer who holds the business end to end, who manages the business end to end. And nothing moves without the blessings of the CFO. So CFO, in a way, he has become a CEO, kind of Chief Everything Officer. Executive Officer tani, but he has also become Chief Everything Officer. While that is happening on large corporations, and many such companies have started adopting, in our experience, we have also come across companies, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, who still continues to see finance as only a support function, more of a cost center kind of a approach, right? Here cost center solron because businesses there are two centers, one is profit center and one is cost center. Anything related to direct business, which is like manufacturing, which is sales, marketing, design, development, everything they are relating it to profit center. Idhula edavadhu na improvement pannana enakku direct profit varum. Idhula நான் ஒரு மிஷின் வாங்கி நான் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணினேன்னா எனக்கு ப்ரொடக்ஷன் கூட வரும், என்னோட சேல்ஸ் கூட வரும், thereby my profitability improves. So that process, many of the companies still do not find it difficult to take that kind of an approach when it comes to strengthening of a financial team, or recruiting a quality resource, or investing in tools which aid the finance team, or even in terms of empowering the finance team, they do not follow that kind of an approach. So that's the background for today's topic, which is like finance, which is the driving force behind business success. So Vijay, thought I'll share it with you. One is this misconception, which is like finance function is not that critical or need not be a business enabler அப்படின்றது ஒரு misconception, which is kind of பரவலா எல்லா ஒரு small and medium sized companiesல இருக்கு. இதை தாண்டி financial management per se அப்படின்றதுலயும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there are a lot of thoughts and beliefs or perceptions which a businessman has when it comes to management, or when it comes to understanding the performance of the business through financial lens. So what are these common beliefs and thought process? Before that, இப்போ ஒரு business ஒரு evaluate பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னோம்னா there are certain critical factors, be it an investor, be it a bank, or whoever it is, there are certain critical factors in which there are some scorecard metrics in which a business is being evaluated. One, obviously, the turnover, the scale, the growth in revenues. Rendavathu, the most important thing, profits. Moonavathu, and the profits, cash flow management, eppadi nadatanga. Most importantly, what are the structures and systems and policies in place? How robust is the organization in terms of adopting these policies and procedures? Another point, how the organization is able to equip or adapt itself to ever-changing environment. There are a lot of regulatory changes happening on a day-to-day basis. There is so much of intense competition which is prevalent in the current day world. How an organization is able to adapt. இப்போ திடீர்னு போறோம், ஒரு ரஷ்யா உக்ரைன் வார் வருது, அதனால இப்போ ஷிப்பிங் லைன்ஸ் எல்லாம் இம்பாக்ட் ஆகுது, நடுவில் வந்து மிட்சி கிரைசிஸ் வருது, அதனால ஒரு ஷிப்பிங்ல ஃபிளைட்ஸ், கண்டெய்னர் ஃபிளைட்ஸ் ஏறுது, ஷிப்பிங் இஸ் நாட் ஹேப்பனிங். ஸோ ஹவு தி ஆர்கனைசேஷன் இஸ் ஏபிள் டு adapt itself to ever-changing environment. What are the risk mitigation strategy the company is adopting? What is the compliance level? Right? வெறும் ஒரு tax filing அந்த level தான் அப்பா, it is a company is robust in following all sorts of compliance, and it is like everything is above the board. So இந்த மாதிரியோட aspects எல்லாம் தான் வந்து any company is being evaluated on all these grounds, and the company's respect or the company's credibility or reputation is being weighed only on based of these scorecards. So any sort of a misconception or a perception or any sort of a wrong belief in any of these parameters definitely has a very drastic bearing on the performance of the company, and ultimately potentially result in value erosion. So what could be the impact of these kind of misconceptions? The foremost, technically பாத்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய நாங்க டீல் பண்ண நிறைய small and medium sized enterprisesல வந்து everybody's focus is top line. டாப் லைன் இல்லைன்னா எதுவுமே இல்லை, பிசினஸ் இல்லைன்னா வந்துட்டு அதோட ஒரு வேல்யூவே இல்லை. ஸோ டர்ன் ஓவர் இஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்லி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். பட் நிறைய கேசஸ்ல வந்து டர்ன் ஓவர் இஸ் ஒன்லி இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் ஃபார் எனி பிசினஸ் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு மிஸ்கன்செப்ஷன் இருக்கும். அண்ட் வாட் பீப்புள் ஆல்சோ பிலீவ் இஸ் த மோர் ஐ டூ டர்ன் ஓவர் மை ப்ராஃபிட்ஸ் இஸ் கோயிங் டு இன்க்ரீஸ். டர்ன் ஓவர் பண்ண எனக்கு ப்ராஃபிட் வர போகுது, நான் டர்ன் ஓவர் ஜாஸ்தி பண்ண எனக்கு ப்ராஃபிட் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆக தானே போகுது அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு கன்செப்ஷன் இருக்கு. ஸோ ஐ ட்ரை டு பிரிங் இன் சம் ஃபியூ கேஸ் ஸ்டடிஸ் case studies which we are aware of it, which is available in like it was which is in public and which is not private, and few case studies which are private in terms of clients whom we have dealt us. So in the particular case, it was a retail chain, a very aggressive promoter who wanted to establish business and who wanted to take the business to pan-India. Initially, they started off with one small product offering, then they expanded to a next division, then again to a completely diversified segment. So he felt the more the business or the higher the footprint, the better would be my business and thereby my valuation or values would go up. So, but that was not the case. So what were the pitfalls of this strategy of being Pathingana? He went ahead with an aggressive expansion and he started building new stores even before the existing stores could stabilize operations. So that was one major pitfall. Rendavu, when he had started putting many stores across regions, he missed to foresee as to what could be the supply chain challenges over there, what could be the kind of staffing issues over there, and thereby what could be my working capital requirement over there. Adellame enga search pannala. Moonavathu pointer, in a fears to increase his market share, he went ahead with a cut price strategy or a high discounting strategy to attract customers and improve turnover again, and lost sight of the margins which was dwindling. So over side he has went ahead with aggressive expansion at full pace and through borrowings. It was not even through kind of internal accruals, equity. He was waiting for accruals to happen and then investing. He went ahead with an aggressive space with all borrowings, ramped up the aggression without stabilizing the existing operations, faced staffing and supply chain issues, declining margins, working capital chaos, and finally this business had to shut down. So we are not saying higher turnover is bad. All we are saying is higher turnover has to correlate with all your existing capabilities, existing resources, and we should not lose sight of the margins. So never higher turnover always results in higher margins. So okay, turnover ஒரு பாட்டு எனக்கு தான் ப்ராஃபிட் வந்துருச்சு பிஸ்னஸில். ஓகே, நான் ரொம்ப டர்ன் பார்த்து பார்க்கலாம், ஐ டெஃபினெட்லி பி ப்ராஃபிட் ஃபோக்கஸ்ட். ஸோ தெர் இஸ் அ ப்ராஃபிட் இன் பிஸ்னஸ். ஸோ என்னோட பிஸ்னஸ் வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப வயபிளான பிஸ்னஸ் தானே, பெஸ்ட் பர்ஃபார்மிங் பிஸ்னஸ் தானே அப்படின்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா இல்லை, அதுலேயும் ஒரு ரைடர் இருக்குது, அதுலேயும் ஒரு கேட்ச் இருக்குது. ப்ராஃபிட் அலோன் இஸ் நாட் தி ஹெல்த் ஃபேக்டர் ஆஃப் தி பிஸ்னஸ். இப்போ இன்னொரு கேஸில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, it was a services company. There are multiple examples for this. It was a services company. It was showing good revenue. It was showing consecutive profits. But despite that, over 2-3 years, the company had drained out. People lost sight of what went wrong because everybody was carried with that I'm making profits. But something they failed to notice and the company drained. What were the reasons? One, whatever sales was happening, it was not being collected on time. There were delays. So, in the side of sale and காமிச்சிட்டே இருக்கோம், அந்த சைடில் ப்ராஃபிட் புக் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருக்கோம், ஆனால் நத்திங் வாஸ் ரியலைஸ்ட். இட் ஆல் ரிமைண்ட் அஸ் ரிசீவபிள்ஸ். ரெண்டாவது, the quality of the sales people tend to miss, right? In a pursuit to go for a higher market share, in a pursuit to go for higher revenues, we tend to miss the quality of revenues. என்னாச்சு, இந்த கம்பெனியில் வந்து existing revenues had come down. The company went for acquisition of new customers, right? So the credit lines were diluted. It went on, the existing customers had left the business, they were unhappy because of the quality of the service and the products, so they left the company. So it was acquiring new customers and the turnover were coming at the cost of the existing customers. One, the receivables were blocked, the inventory piled up, and then they had the working capital blockages. In whatever investments they made in new initiatives, they missed out. So investments usually capitalize பண்ணிடுவோம், so it does not impact profits. So bookல profit பார்ப்போம், capex அந்த சைடுல இருக்கும். So profit, but did we actually achieve what we intended to achieve அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த ஒரு ஆஸ்பெக்ட், அந்த ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் இருந்திருக்காது. So on one side they would be doing capex, on the other side they would be making profits and they were comfortable with profits. So naturally working capital issues வரும்போது they resorted to higher borrowings, they have higher debt equity ratios, and it became, what are the usual challenges when the borrowings increase, right? So adinala profits alone do not indicate that the company is in a very sound position. Profitல இன்னொரு criteria கூட இருக்கு. நிறைய பேர் வந்துட்டு, say for instance, நான் வந்து இந்த வருஷம் 100 கோடி டர்ன் ஓவர் பண்ணேன், எனக்கு வந்து 5 கோடி ப்ராஃபிட் இருக்கு, அடுத்த வருஷம் நான் போகும்போது நான் வந்துட்டு 6 கோடி ப்ராஃபிட் பண்ணிட்டேன், ஐ எம் ஆல்சோ க்ரோயிங் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. That 6 crores profit has come for 150 crores of revenues without losing sight of whether that money is freely available as cash or not for them. So any money earned should result in a free cash flow. So whatever sales you have made, it should be collected. Whatever expenses would have kind of reduced to whatever investments you have made should have yielded the better results, and that's when you have the free cash available in the system. That cash can either come back to us return on equity for the businessman, or it can go towards funding new growth initiatives. In the business level, when the funds are new growth, in the business grow பண்றதுக்கு funds வேணும். Many a time people think profits and cash are the same. நான் profit பண்ணா அது எல்லாம் எனக்கு கேஷா இருக்கு அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு misconception இருக்கு. So that is not the case all the time, and people who have actually believed profit is equal to cash have only resulted in incremental borrowings, and end of the day had to sell the business at distressed values. So இது ஒரு பக்கம் டாப் லைன் பாட்டம் லைன். இப்போ ஃபினான்ஷியல் பார்ட்னர்ஸ்ல சொன்னீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு சேயிங் இருக்கு, which is like top line is for vanity. I'm sure you would have all heard about it. Top line is for vanity, profits is sanity, cash is only reality. So the top lineன்றத பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு அழகு ஆர்னமெண்டல், ஒரு அழகு பொருள் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி தான். Revenues are important, we are not discounting it, but most of the times it is only a kind of it helps understand the business size and the scale and the opportunities which are available. What makes sense is profit, and most importantly நிதர்சனமா அப்படின்னு நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா cash தான். Unless and otherwise the business is able to generate cash, the business economics doesn't make sense. So இது business performance அப்படின்னு இருக்கும்போது இன்னொரு ஒரு வெரி காமனான ஒரு பிலீஃப் நிறைய பிசினஸ் மேன்ல என்ன அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, நீங்க இப்போ எனக்கு தெரியும் என் பிசினஸ் எங்க இருக்குன்ட்டு. இப்போ சே ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் என் பிசினஸ் 100 கோடியில் இருக்கு. அடுத்த வருஷம் மார்க்கெட் நல்லா இருந்தா 150 கோடி பண்ணேன், மார்க்கெட் சரியில்லைன்னா 80 கோடி பண்ணேன். பட் ஐ நோ ஐ வாண்டட் டு கோ 150 crores, but I can go there depending upon the market circumstances அப்படின்ற மாதிரி predominantly these aspects are there in the minds of the businessmen, the promoters who is driving on a day-to-day basis. The people who are working under the promoters, right, most of the times they don't carry the vision of the promoters, or most of the time they are not privy to the vision of the promoters. And since they are not privy to the vision of the promoters or the target or the goals of the promoters, they continue to act in the way they know, or they continue to follow the same practices. So இதை அட்ரஸ் பண்றதுக்கு one important element என்னன்னா documentation. Say for instance, if you many small and medium size enterprisesல அவங்களோட பெர்ஃபார்மன்ஸை either ஸ்டாட்டிக்கா பார்ப்பாங்க, அப்படி இல்லைன்னா ஒரு ரெஃபரன்ஸ் பாயிண்டா ஒரு போன வருஷத்தோட அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ரெஃபரன்ஸ் பாயிண்டா பார்ப்பாங்க. In bits and pieces they have a look at it. If we get into a proper business planning exercise, right? So okay, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம 100 crores இருக்கோம், 100ல இருந்து we wanted to go to 150. இந்த 50 crores எக்ஸ்ட்ராவா அச்சீவ் பண்றதுக்கு what are the key elements? This has to be broken down. ஒரு வால்யூம் ப்ராடக்ட் பிசினஸ்ல இருந்தீங்கன்னா வால்யூம் growth எவ்வளவு இருக்கணும், பிரைசிங் growth என்ன இருக்கணும், ப்ராடக்ட் மிக்ஸ் என்ன இருக்கணும், என்ன மாதிரி கஸ்டமர்ஸை நான் அப்ரோச் பண்ணணும், எந்த ஜியோகிராஃபில நான் போகணும், என்ன மாதிரி காஸ்ட் ரிடக்ஷன் எக்ஸசைஸை போகணும். See, unless and otherwise the business planned or detailed to this extent, neither the team will have any clarity or direction to go ahead and achieve it. Neither the promoter will also not have, because he is into the thick of things. Every day firefighting மட்டும் தான் ஹேண்டில் பண்ண முடியுமே தவிர இந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ட் ஒரு அப்ரோச் இல்லைன்னா target achievement is a very big problem. So in the case la pathina inda oru promoter vandu they were in a 40-year business, very niche segment, oru product business la irukanga, very lucrative business, very profitable business, but even after 40 years they were very stagnated. They were doing hardly 50-60 crores of revenues, but the promoter did not know as to why they are not able to grow. So back and forth because they always had the idea to take the business to the next level, but they were failing every single time. Then when they had approached and when we started engaging and we found as to what is that which is actually missing them, they lacked clarity, they lacked direction. The team also lacked direction, one. Secondly, although the promoter had a vision to take the business to the next level, they missed to notice as to what are the gaps which makes them to move to the next level. It could be team onboarding or right team structure illana, who will carry that goal? The kind of investment or resources they need to make. It could be in manufacturing, it could be in marketing. If that is not being mapped, nobody is going to chase that. And in terms of product market strategies and product strategies, if you are not going to detail it, nobody again is going to chase it. So business plan is just not only to give to banks for CMA projections or for any sort of a fundraising or any sort of a credit rating. Adukku mattum kadiyadu business plan. Even for our own purpose, for us to give better clarity as well as to the team and the right direction, business plans are very critical for the business successes. So, a business plan business plan but somebody has to review it, right? Today, again, small and medium-sized enterprises do have a review mechanism. I would not say that they don't have a review mechanism, but it is all very distorted reviews. It is not a kind of a holistic review. Mostly என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க அப்படின்னா ஓகே டே டு டே ப்ரொடக்ஷன் எனக்கு என்ன தெரியும், இன்னைக்கு என்ன நடந்தது சேல்ஸ்ன்றது தெரியும், பேங்க் பேமெண்ட் என்ன நிலவரம் அப்படின்றது தெரியும். மாசம் ஒரு நாள் அங்கே இருக்கிற ஒரு அக்கௌண்டன்ட் வந்துட்டு ஒரு P&L ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் ஒரு நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் ஃபினான்ஸ்ல வந்து சிங்கிள் என்ட்ரி டபுள் என்ட்ரி சொல்லுவோம். P&L மட்டும் பார்க்கறது வேற சிங்கிள் என்ட்ரி தான். ஒரு சிங்கிள் என்ட்ரி ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் மாதிரி ஒரு P&L ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் மட்டும் போட்டுருவாங்க. அது கூட க்ளோஸ்டு டோர்ஸ் டிஸ்கஷனாக தான். ஏன்னா பெரும்பாலான இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற பிசினஸஸ்ல வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவல் டீமோட டிரான்ஸ்பரண்டா எல்லாத்தையுமே பிசினஸ் பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸை ஷேர் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ ஒரு P&L ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் பார்த்தாங்க, சரி ஓகே நமக்கு பேங்க் நல்லா வரவங்க இருக்கு, சேல் எவ்வளோ இருக்கு, ஓகே நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன், நம்ம பிசினஸ் நல்லா போடுது அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ரிவ்யூஸ் ஆர் வெரி 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 டிஸ்டார்டட் அண்ட் வெரி லிமிட்டட். So this does not help the business at all. So ஒரு ரிவ்யூன்றது அப்படின்றத பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம we need to have all the core functions of the team together for the review. We need to understand what are the critical levers or the drivers of the business and the under the particular driver. Because say for instance sales எடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா region wise sales, product wise sales, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ல who has performed, who has not performed. ஒரு பிசினஸ் ஒரு பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் அச்சீவ் பண்ணுது அப்படின்னா எதனால அதை அச்சீவ் பண்ணிருக்கு, அச்சீவ் பண்ணலனா எதனால அச்சீவ் பண்ணலன்ற கிளாரிட்டி இல்லைன்னா there can be no action plans, there can be no course corrections where we are missed out and where we need to gain. So இந்த ஃபோக்கஸ் வந்து ரிவ்யூ ஃபோக்கஸ் வந்து நிறைய பிசினஸ்ல இருக்கிறது இல்லை. அண்ட் மோஸ்ட்லி அப்படியே இருந்தாலும் சொல்ற மாதிரி வெறும் ஃபினான்ஸ் ரிலேட்டடா இருக்குது, இண்டிவிஜுவலா ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸை வந்துட்டு ரிவ்யூ பண்ணிட்டு விட்டுறாங்க. Whereas if you have a holistic review, each of the functional heads can understand as to what is that consequences of not achieving the performance or what is that can be made better through support of the other departments. So this holistic review is very critical for businesses to succeed. That is one. In other than that, it also helps us to bring in some control strength. Okay, whenever you review, there is a budget, there is also a last year performance, and there is also a what is that we have achieved. So எங்கெல்லாம் வந்து கண்ட்ரோல் ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கோ அதை கோர்ஸ் கரெக்ட் பண்றதுக்கும் these kind of reviews help. So business plan and reviews have to go hand in hand. This is kind of wherever we are seen as mostly universal. Finance team ஓட முக்கியமான கேள்வி என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா டாக்ஸ் எப்படி கட் பண்றது, டாக்ஸ் எப்படி சேவ் பண்றது. அது இன்ஃபேக்ட் அவங்க வருஷம் பூரா இந்த ஒரு ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக்காக மட்டுமே வேலை செய்வாங்கன்ற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும். So and because this again goes back to their thought process or their beliefs that tax saved is actually wealth creation. That is what they believe in. So they do anything and everything to save on that 25% or 29% of tax. We are not saying that tax planning should not be there. There are so many ways for legitimate tax plannings. There are so many ways where a business can actually benefit better from through tax planning exercises. It could be like the investment in new initiatives where the government gives you tax sorts. There are various other ways in terms of tax planning which can be taken above the board. But இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம மாதிரி பிசினஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வந்துட்டு they start getting into unnecessarily getting invoices, recognizing expenses which are unrelated to the business. ஒன்று என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா the culture of the team itself gets distorted with this kind of a practice. So when a promoter starts doing it, the team on its own will start doing something else and you cannot avoid any sort of a potential leakages and the culture gets distorted. So many a times tax saving is not tax wealth creation at all because it poses a lot of threat in terms of compliance and other regulatory issues, and in a way it also sends a different message to the organization under the promoter and which may not be healthy and which can lead to other aspects. So one more important point with reference to tax saving now we are in a environment where collaboration is becoming more and more very common, right? People are coming in and small businesses are getting consolidated with bigger businesses. There are a lot of mergers and acquisitions taking place. So our experience one instance was one company which was like a Mumbai based company. So நம்மளுக்கே தெரியும் நம்ம tax saving over X level எடுத்தோம்னா Mumbai based companies will take X plus 1000 levels. So it was a very good product company, a D2C, a new age business, very beautifully grown in a very short span of time. Within 2 years, the promoters have taken it into a 25-30 crore business with double-digit EBITDA margins. Upwards of 20% is what they had. But with the with auditors' advice and inputs, and they in turn they don't want to pay taxes, they showed very meager profits in the books of accounts. And finally, they were looking for some partnership to take the business to the next level. Because D2C, உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், the scaling is very fast. A 25 crore business can easily get into a 100 crore business provided they have the right funding opportunities. So they actually wanted to take the business to the next level, and a very big company had come in for showed interest in them, and we only won that deal. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be a deal with one of the best of valuations, but the promoters could not lock that because they failed to justify the adjustments which they made in books of accounts. So they ended up in actually lower valuation, which otherwise could have been better for them, right? So this is only one instance. So gone are those days where only tax saving gives us money, because if you really want better valuations for the company, it should always be, because if you want the tax or 2,500 rupees spending, 25 rupees of tax you can save. If you book 100 rupees as an expense to cut down 25 rupees of tax, all we end up saying is rupees 100 rupees, right? Whereas in a business, in the merger acquisition case, that 100 rupees will have a different multiple. It can have 1 multiple, 2 multiple, 3 multiple, so it has a different proposition altogether. So no more tax saving is a kind of an actual retention or an actual earnings for us, and that is definitely something which small and medium-sized companies have to work on it. The other part, just like how finance function is like kind of always treated as very subpar to core operations functions, compliance also in many of our small case companies takes only a second priority. ஓகே, நம்ம மாதிரி ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ்க்கு வந்துட்டு ஒரு ஜிஎஸ்டி ரிட்டர்ன் ஃபைல் பண்ண போகிறோம், டிடிஎஸ் ரிட்டர்ன் ஃபைல் பண்ண போகிறோம். ஓகே, இந்த டைம் ஃப்ரேமில் பண்ண போகிறோம். இது இருந்தால் போகும், பெருசாக ஒன்றா வேணாம், நம்ம பிக் கார்பரேஷன் இல்லை இல்லையா? அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு மைண்ட் செட் வந்துட்டு we get tuned to those kind of aspects. But people do not understand is what kind of risk this can pose. Again, this is purely because of some kind of என்ன சொல்றது, இப்போ இந்த ஒரு லாஜிஸ்டிக்ஸ் கம்பெனியில் வந்து நீங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம டீல் பண்ணதுல ஒரு டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட்டேஷன் கம்பெனி, ஐ வுட் நாட் சே லாஜிஸ்டிக்ஸ், இட்ஸ் மோர் ஆஃப் அ டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட்டேஷன் கம்பெனி. They were in a very different segment, again a segment where there were not too many players in over there, and they commanded some kind of monopoly over there. But and the compliance ko importance kodukavadala, it was a private limited company, there was no proper compliance in place. Monies were being transferred from one account to another account, to individual accounts, to personal accounts. No filing of returns on time, money is getting diversified into other business. There were a lot of issues in this transportation company. Again, it did not go well. Whatever borrowings they had taken, they had to default, and finally the company came for NCLT. So small compliance issues, we do not know as to when this way crop up. So compliance, especially if you want the business to scale up and grow the business to next level, and if you want to attract investors into the company, compliance has to be the top priority for any business, be it big or small. Finally, ஒரு aspect என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, for all of us the business, we are very possessive about the business what we run, right? We think we know everything about our business and we do the best for whatever business. Of course, that's what is the intention, right? But many times we also get to be so guarded about when it comes to our own business practices, right? We tend to kind of, since many of the businessmen also are in the day-to-day activities, they miss to step back and see as to what could have been done better, what is my industry peers are doing, what are the industry practices they are adopting. ஏன்னா இண்டஸ்ட்ரி எதை நோக்கி போயிட்டு இருக்கு, ஏதாவது நியூ ஏஜ் டெக்னாலஜி வந்திருக்கா, ஏதாவது நியூ ப்ராஜெக்ட் ஒரு நியூ ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜி வந்திருக்கா, ஒரு நியூ மார்க்கெட்டிங் ஆஸ்பெக்ட் ஏதாவது வந்திருக்கா. மெனி ஆஃப் த கேசஸ்ல ப்ரொமோட்டர்ஸ் டெண்ட் டு மிஸ் அவுட். ஃபார் தெம் தே ஆல்வேஸ், especially small business for whom we have seen, they feel that என்னோட பிஸ்னஸ் ரொம்ப யூனிக்குங்க, எனக்கு வந்து கம்பேரபிள் கிடையாதுங்க, அந்த கம்பெனி வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க, அந்த கம்பெனி இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ் மாடல் யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஸோ அவங்க எங்கேயும் கம்பேர் பண்ணாதீங்க. The idea is not to compare. The idea is to only pick up good practices of other companies and see as to why don't we implement in our company and take it to the next level, right? So we should always be open to those kind of benchmarking, and which we call it as peer group benchmarking. As a company, many companies have been listed. Many companies are approaching SME segments. So wherever we have a possibility, we should always look for the peer group, how the peer group is performing in terms of both their top line, margins, cost optimization, technology, their own market strategies, and be willing to willing to learn from those kind of aspects. So these are a few critical aspects which we felt which forms the core of any sort of a financial management. And our view for us, finance as a function has to definitely change if we really want to scale up the business to the next level and create reputation and also build a credible business proposition. So in a nutshell, core of the business has to be finance. Finance is gone are those days, finance team gone are those days where finance team is only a kind of a rear view mirror in a car, right? Which only reflects past numbers and performances. We should empower the finance team to sit in the driver's seat and run the business. Finance should be a partner of the business. It should work alongside the management of the business. And many of our small companies and companies in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, attracting talented resources is also an issue. That is also a reality. In the my cities, good quality resource attract pandratho, it is very difficult. So, for instances, we should always look forward for some advisory boards with us who can help and who can give us a third eye perspective, who can dispassionately tell us as to what is going right and what is not going right, and help us addressing the gaps where we are focused on the day-to-day operations. So that is very critical. Once that is done and we get into the practice of having a clear-cut business plan, defining all the strategies, fixing KPIs for them, and reviewing the monthly performance against the goal post, fixing the gaps, bringing out course correction action plans, and having internal audits and controls, correct checks and balances, and also once in a while try to benchmark us with the peer groups or peer industry players. I am sure that there is nothing which can stop from taking the business to the next level. So that's it, finance function. It has to be the lifeline of the business. If I'm to draw a comparison between a business and a human body, finance acts as the brain. Once the brain is dead, there is no life to the body, and finance is one function which has to have that kind of an empowerment and be considered as a strategic department on the overall business company. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.